Hello there, welcome to Gekes Cantina. My name is Gekes. So it's been a while since I've done one of these videos, so I've been having a bit of an itch to do one, so I figured why not. And the first video I'll be doing in quite some time, and it'll be a review of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So I've been anticipating this movie for quite some time, anticipating it to be quite a good movie. It's been a while since Doctor Strange had a solo movie. His debut movie a few years back, and he hasn't had his own movie since then. He's featured in the Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame, and he's in Thor Ragnarok, and the awesome Spider-Man No Way Home, but he hasn't had his solo movie. So when this movie finally came out, I was excited because it's actually Doctor Strange in his own movie, having his own adventure, and it turns out it wasn't just his journey as well. There was another character involved as well, but I'll talk more about that in a minute. Another thing I liked about having a new Doctor Strange film is that it's back to something that's relatively familiar. Now, post-Endgame has been a bit tricky for Marvel fans because there hasn't been a huge amount of features. There's been Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man No Way Home. There's been a lot of smaller screen stuff going directly to Disney Plus, like WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Oh, and there was also the Eternals, but I missed that one out deliberately. Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, and Hawkeye. Now, all of these are brilliant. Don't get me wrong, really good. All the limited series on Disney Plus are amazing. I love it. And the Black Widow film was, I did a review of that a while back. Was okay, but it was nice to get back to something a little bit more familiar. Having Dr. Stephen Strange in his own movie again, it's nice to see a familiar character getting his own feature. He's not a new character. I know we've developed characters in the smaller screen stuff like Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki and Hawkeye. It's all been nice to see them, but to have a character that hasn't had his own movie, but we all know who he is, and for him to have his own adventure, I was quite excited to watch it anyway. So kind of Disney, Marvel and Disney, they've been kind of dipping their toes into this multiverse business for a little while now. It was kind of touched on in briefly in Spider-Man Far From Home. That's the one, yeah, Far From Home. The possibility of there being a multiverse. They delved hip deep into it in the Loki series, and Spider-Man Far From Home, they downright just shoved it in your face. Here's the multiverse. So, this is kind of a new direction. Rather than being out in space or anything like that, or aliens, this is actually multi-dimensional fun, as the title suggests for this movie. And so it was kind of nice for them to jump into something a little bit new and a little bit of a different direction. And boy, did it go in a very, very different direction than I thought. So before I start talking about the film itself, I'm just going to say there's not going to be any spoilers here. Believe me, I want to spoil things and I want to ruin things, but I won't, because this is not what the review is all about. It's about how I feel about the film, not about the content of the film necessarily. So that being said, the story is a little bit convoluted, I will say, but I'll try and boil it down to into its simplest form. And there is a character called America Chavez, and she's being pursued through the multiverse by a being. Let's say I shan't tell you who or what or whatever, because again, I'm not going to ruin anything. And she has the ability to jump through the multiverse from one universe to another. But she can't control his powers anyway. So she's being chased through the multiverse. She stumbles across Stephen Strange, our Stephen Strange, the one that we all know and love, and he takes it upon himself to try and save her from her fate of being pursued. And he does. And through the ensuing adventures and hijinks, they end up tumbling through several universes and meeting different characters that can help and hinder, blah blah blah, and they all they all learn valuable lessons about life and all this stuff. But through that, there is some great action sequences, special effects, and some truly visually stunning Marvel adventures. I mean, it was a spectacle, as you'd expect from most Marvel projects to be these days. It was in your face, it was colourful, you know, I couldn't really fault the special effects much, and it was fun. There was a lot of fun involved. I mean, it dealt with a lot of heavy side stories and plots and relationships, and, you know, as you'd expect with most Marvel projects, there's a certain degree of character development and growth through all of these. I think most of them, and you tend to be entertained by them, you tend to be moved by them, and this was no different. You know, with the exception of Eternals, I've been quite glued to all of the character stories. That was a little bit of a drive-by on Eternals, but never mind, we should move on. So yes, there was a very good acting involved. You know, I can't fault any of the acting. The only thing I will say is that you know, I read and I watched a couple of reviews prior to watching non-spoiler reviews prior to going to watch the film, and they all said the same thing. The biggest thing that let the film down was that the dialogue was a bit clunky and a bit stilted, and I have to say I do agree 100%. It didn't seem to have much of a punchier script than a lot of the other Marvel features have had. Some really kind of difficult lines to say, and it didn't take it out of the film too much, but you kind of felt like they were trying to say these words rather than them just coming naturally. It kind of felt like they were reading them off a script. But anyway, if that kind of thing bothers you, you know, you get over it pretty quick, because the film is a spectacle. You know, Benedict Cumberbatch was his usual legendary self. B.D. Wong, can't go wrong with B.D. Wong playing Wong, and they got a slightly different dynamic in this movie, but they still play off each other very well. Elizabeth Olsen is again very good. She pretty much picks up after what happens in WandaVision. So, you know, you kind of have to know WandaVision a little bit to know what she's going through in this film. Again, I'm not going to ruin her character arc, but let's just say it's very interesting. And you get to see quite a bit of the Scarlet Witch, which was amazing. I loved it. You know, there's a lot of magic, a lot of witchcraft, and yeah, I can't say too much without spoiling it, but it is a spectacle. It is fun to watch. You know, it's your typical Marvel movie. There's some interesting cameos. Again, I don't want to ruin it. You know, that some of the one of the trailers, you know, if you listen really carefully, you can actually tell what one of the cameos is going to be. And yes, it is, for all those who already know. There was a couple of nice surprises in there as well, which made me go, ooh. I hope they follow up with that in the future. So there's a lot of potential that comes out of the film, which was great. You know, there was an interesting scene where Strange fights Strange. As strange as that may sound, but they're literally they have a duel with music magic. It may sound like something from Harry Potter, but it's really well done. If you watch the film, please do. That hasn't really ruined anything. But there's a fight scene between Doctor Strange and another Doctor Strange. They have a misunderstanding, and they literally end up throwing music notes at each other, and yeah, it's madness. Multiverse madness. So yeah, if I was going to throw the biggest criticism at the film, negative criticism I should say, is that the script wasn't great. You know, clunky, again, what I said, stilted, and it kind of seemed to lack a little bit of punch that the previous movies have had. But that being said, it was fun to watch, and it's a very quite a fast-paced fast-paced film. You don't really get a huge amount of time to take a breath. Literally from the opening of the film, it's pretty much go, 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 go. And there's a bit of convoluted plot, and there's certain magic books that can help and hinder, and it felt a little bit long-winded in that respect. They could probably have simplified it if I were doing it, but nobody asked me, and nobody's asking me now, but I'm telling you anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much the worst things I've got to say about the film. I posted a coming soon video a little while ago, a few days ago, and I was saying I hope this would knock one of my top 3 Marvel films off my favourites. Sorry to say it doesn't. It's not up there with one of my favourites of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it is definitely a very, very good film, and it is up there on, probably within my top 10. Also, I'm not going to go through them now because that'll be a whole different video for a whole different time. But it is not one of my favourites, I'm sorry to say, but it didn't disappoint. It's pretty much what you'd expect from a Marvel film, with some surprises in there and things. So if I was gonna rate it, I would say, off the top of my head, this is just me improvising right now, I would give it maybe an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 is good. That's it's not mediocre, certainly not mediocre, but at the end of the day, it didn't blow my skirt up either. It's kind of that middle ground between those two, so I think 8 is pretty good, with its script issues and convoluted story and things like that. I would say an 8 is really good. I was glued to it, despite the people behind me that kept talking every time there was a surprise. Oh, guess it was beep. I'm not going to tell you who, but they kept talking behind, and I just wanted to give them an elbow, but I didn't because I didn't want to be kicked out of the cinema. Otherwise, I couldn't do this review for you people. So yeah, anyway, there it is. This review is probably a little bit rambling. I'm a little bit out of practice, but I hope to post some other videos in the future. I mentioned earlier on in my earlier video that I want to do one on the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which is coming soon in a few weeks, and I can't wait for that because of Star Wars. So yeah, so that was a few thoughts put onto video. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, 8 out of 10. A good film, a fun film. Go and watch it, people. If you like Marvel, you'll certainly like this film. So there it is. There's my first video for quite some time. It's kind of nice to get to do this again. Probably a little bit more rambling than I wanted to. I didn't really script it. I just kind of improvised it a little bit. Just put the camera on and talk. Sometimes you can get some good stuff when you just talk. So that's what I've done. Anyway, before I ramble anymore, thanks for watching this video. I shall hopefully be posting some new content in the near future. I shall be setting up an email as well, so if you wanna email me for future videos, I shall be posting the email probably at the bottom of the screen on my next video, I reckon, around there. So anyway, I shall hopefully see you very, very soon in my next video. Thank you and take care.